growth isn't a destination, it's a discipline.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean? That's about learning, reflecting with others, getting some external feedback loops.
Well, it's a bit like a gym membership. You can have the gym membership, but unless you're disciplined to go, you're getting nothing out of it. So I think we've been guilty of having a gym membership and not going, but it is getting that discipline of turning up and being active when you're there.
If you want more time, money, freedom, and have a business that's not reliant on you, then you're in the right place. Each week, Mark Creedon, along with some of the very best business minds in the world, will take you through simple, practical steps you can take to create the business you always wanted. From his own practical experience, Mark will show you how to work less, make more, and get the business you always wanted, the one that you deserve. Now here's your host, one of Australia's most sought-after business coaches, Mark Creedon.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Mastermind for Business podcast. This podcast is for you if you are a couple in business and you would like to learn every week in about 15 minutes or so some tips and tricks for how you can deal with the particular challenges that come to you as a couple in business. And as always, joining me in the chair is Caroline. Hello, Caroline.
Hello. I'm lighting the bugs today.
Yeah. Well, Hey, listen, let's talk about staying in the growth zone.
Yeah.
Avoiding stagnation, maintaining momentum. Can I just jump in here and say this? So we're going to talk about how it is that you stay in the growth zone and you avoid stagnation. One of the things I see is what I call it's success complacency, right? What happens is we get clients who have had great success and then they become complacent about that success. So they stop investing, they stop growing, they stop investing in their people. But more importantly, they stop planning. And I guess that's sort of things that you're going to talk about in today's session. And so suddenly they just become complacent about the success. And that is the point at which businesses start to decay. So they start to move into a downward spiral as soon as this concept of success complacency kicks in.
Yeah. A lot of businesses have, I think, been guilty of this over time. And you don't realize it. Or people don't realize it often until they're, looking at their cash flow and they're getting a dip in their cash flow and they go, oh my God, holy sugar. I've just become too complacent. I was watching a YouTube clip by Jim Rohn where he's saying comfort is the enemy of growth because it discourages, taking risks, learning new skills, facing challenges, which are essential for any business.
I reckon the other thing it does is when you've been successful and you fall into a certain level of comfort, I think you stop listening to other people. So suddenly you start to sort of believe your own bullshit and you stop getting advice, or as we have seen, you surround yourself with acolytes. You surround yourself with people that tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
But either way, this is the comfort zone that Jim Rohn's talking about, right? Yeah, things are going okay. I'm pretty comfortable. I'm making good coin. The business is successful. Everybody's happy. So I don't really need advice from anybody. I don't need to listen to anybody, and I don't need to do anything different. I remember having a conversation with a CEO once that I felt, had fallen into that success complacency. And I said to him, what's the plan? What's your plan? He went, well, I don't have one. It's just to keep doing what we're doing. Well, that's not a plan. But it's okay. Things are good. Things are comfortable. The truth is, of course, as we delved into the business and found that things weren't quite as comfortable, weren't quite as good, and that the team weren't quite as happy and people weren't quite as contented and the clients weren't quite as satisfied. I think that's that danger of that comfort zone, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, growth will only occur when, you intensely step into an uncomfortable state.
Yeah.
Which sounds really crazy in hindsight, but when you're in that position, there is an element of fight or flight. And majority will sort of go, okay, I've got to get this I've just got to learn about this. I've just got to go outside the comfort zones here and I just have to make this work. So they work out skills. And there's not an entrepreneur in the country or the world, I don't think, who's had those moments where they've gone, okay, I have to hustle. This is not comfortable and I have to hustle.
I mean,
that's business, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you often get some of your best work done in the zone of uncomfortability. I don't know if that's a word.
I don't know.
Discomfort. Anyway, when you're uncomfortable, right? So when you're uncomfortable, it puts a bit of acid on you and it forces you to do something. But, I actually reckon, Caroline, that's the benefit. I mean, obviously, we run a mastermind program, but I actually think that's the benefit of being involved in something, like whether it's our business mastermind program, whatever program it might be. I think there's great benefit in that, because I think the two things you get from that, I think you get collective momentum and shared wisdom, and you'll get it right eventually, right? So collective momentum is really, if you surround yourself with people who are all moving in a similar direction, even if they are from different industries, and I think there's great value if they are from different industries, even if they're from different industries, they all want to work in. So it's like everybody in a rowboat rowing in the same direction, right? And then you get the shared wisdom. So, like in our mastermind group, we curate who comes into the program very carefully. It's because we know that we want people to share their wisdom, because there's some pretty successful and clever cats in our program, right? That are, running massive businesses and, up to $500 million turnover businesses. I mean, and the good thing I love about that is that they just share. Oh yeah, I had that problem like 3 years ago, and man, I solved that by doing this, this, and this. How cool is that?
Yep.
So part of the program that we run, we have, 3 intensives a year where we spend a couple of days with our clients. We often say they get as much from each other in those sessions than they do from you and I.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love that you can have, a regional electrician getting, really great value, having a chat to somebody who is in recruitment.
Yeah.
And you just think, this guy's only got one other business partner, which is his wife.
Yeah.
And yet the knowledge that he gained was great.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
It's very cool to see that. So I think that shows the importance of external feedback loops, right? So whether it's a coach, whether it's a mastermind group, whether it's I was going to say a networking group, but be really careful about networking groups, because most of those, with all due respect to anybody listening who's running a networking group, most of those, in my experience, in my own personal experience, are little more than business card exchange exercises or business card sessions. So the concept, I think, of having an external feedback loop where you can get some feedback from people around you. But the thing is, if you've got a team, you can establish internal feedback, or you can establish a feedback loop with your team or with your clients.
Yeah.
I remember having a conversation with one of our mastermind clients once, and I said to him, let's talk about client satisfaction. I know they're really happy. Oh, how do you know that? Oh, they'd tell me if they weren't. Well, you know what? Here's a newsflash for you. They won't. No. They'll just vote with their feet. Yeah. Suddenly you'll go, oh, what happened to Caroline and Mark? They used to do business with us all the time.
Yeah.
Haven't seen them for months.
Yeah.
Can I share a little story about that? So
no.
Yeah, good. Thanks. So there's a story about Selfridges, right? And I know you watched the TV series Selfridges, but Selfridges is a department store in the UK. And when Selfridges was first operating, Mr. Selfridge, who ran it, what he used to do, because when people made a purchase, the cashier wrote the details of the purchase on an index card.
Yeah.
So they hand wrote the card.
Yeah.
Caroline came and bought a green blouse today, right? So he would go through those index cards every month, and he would see the people the regulars who hadn't been in the store. So he had, a list of all the regulars, and he'd see if somebody hadn't been in the store in that month. And so he would hand write a letter to them. Hi, Caroline, noticed you haven't been in the store this month. We really miss you. Come back and buy stuff. And he would have it hand delivered. I mean, back in the days when it would be a man on a bicycle that would ride around and hand deliver something to your door, ring your doorbell. And that's what he would do. So the reason I talk about that is that, just having a way of monitoring what's going on for your clients, whether it's self-checking, whether it's running through your CRM on a regular basis, whether it's running some feedback loops with your team, with your clients, I think it's just vitally important. That's how you stay in the growth zone, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And as much as we see, your likes of LinkedIn and social media as sometimes feels like a time waster, spending that half an hour a day, or, even if you can do 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn or where your customers are,
Yep.
and where your network is,
Yep.
then you're going to reap those rewards. And, if networking is just not a thing for you, there are benefits by networking through a LinkedIn, for example, and you will create relationships. And it might be coffees, it might be Zooms or something like that. But then going back to the networking events, there are some really good networking events out there that you just feel are authentic.
Yeah, and I know that you belong to one.
Yeah. Convoy Collective.
Yep. Yeah. And shout out to the guys that I know you belong to that, and that's not a business card swapping exercise. In fact, they specifically don't want that. So they are good networking. But I'm going to get yourself involved. I think the other thing that you said the other day I really liked was growth isn't a destination. It's a discipline.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, it's a bit like a gym membership. You can have the gym membership, but unless you're disciplined to go, you're getting nothing out of it. So I think we've been guilty of having a gym membership and not going, but it is getting that discipline of turning up and being active when you're there.
Yep. So that's about learning, reflecting with others. Like we said before, getting some external feedback loops. I mean, I like reading books more than you do.
Yep.
So my go-to is to read books. Your go-to is to go to workshops and classes and courses and Convoy Collective and those sorts of things. But, I just think I read this great book the other day called The Coffee Bean by John Gordon. In fact, it's John Gordon and Damon West. And the coffee bean is about this concept. So let me ask you this question. What happens to a carrot if you put it in hot water for an extended period of time?
It goes soft.
It goes all mushy, yeah? What happens to an egg?
In just,
Boiling water.
boiling water?
Yeah.
It gets hard.
Right, so it becomes a hard-boiled egg, right? What happens to a coffee bean?
I just have to be careful how I answer this because
Not really. What happens to a coffee bean if you put it in boiling water? It brews, becomes coffee, right?
Yeah.
So the concept of it was, and this is where I'm going with this continued learning thing, the concept of that is when you are in hot water, when you are facing a situation, how do you stop yourself from just disintegrating like a carrot or just becoming, an unreasonable hard ass like an egg, and instead being a coffee bean and turning the situation into something really positive? That kind of stuff only comes through self-reflection, continued learning, having good people around you, having feedback loops, being part of a mastermind group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the more you do that, the more you're going to get out of that situation.
It's easier and often more enjoyable doing that in a group or, with people around you that you feel comfortable and safe with.
Yep. So I think for the listener here, this is now about going, where have you become comfortable or where are you in maintenance mode? And let's be honest, we're recording this toward the end of the year. So we're recording this in November. As you get toward Christmas, it's kind of hard to move out of maintenance mode. It's really hard to think about new projects and new ideas and new innovations when you're going, man, I just need to just crawl to the finish line. Yeah. Just get me to the end of the year.
You're ticking off dates almost by the time you...
Yeah, correct. It's like a really long advent.
Got to get this project done by 30th of November. It's got to get done.
But I just think that if we're talking about avoiding maintenance mode, this is a good time of the year to start to reflect on that. Have I just been cruising this year? Have I just been maintaining the status quo?
Busy being busy.
Yeah. And so what am I going to do next year? What's a project that I could work on? Whether it's, as we spoke about in the last episode, whether it's about, finding leaders in your business, evolving them, trusting them, investing in them, whether it's about investing in getting the feedback loop up and running, going out and asking your clients what's going on, asking your team what's going on, or whether it's actually joining a mastermind group and investing in yourself in that regard. This is a great time of the year to think about, how do I make the next year incrementally better than the year I just had?
Yeah. And start that before the year.
Sure.
Before the year wraps up or before the new year, because then you're not going into building momentum in, January when you get back. You've already started momentum and you're getting yourself grounded to just jump in and run in 2026.
Well, one of the things that you and I do every December is we preload our calendar for the next year, right? And that's about working out what are the big plans that we've got, what are the projects we want to work on, how do we load them in the calendar? Because we know if it gets calendared, it gets actioned. So the idea of, how can I look at what did I do in, so listen, this is the proposition for you. What did I achieve in 2025? Was that true growth or was I just in a comfort or a maintaining zone? Am I actually just comfortable now? Am I in cruise? And if the answer to that is yes, now's a great time for you to think about, right, what am I going to do in 2026 that's going to get me out of that comfort zone? What am I going to do that's get me out of that cruise zone? What's some projects I can work on in the business? And as you say, start to plan for them now. So when you come back after, if you're taking some time off or whatever for the Christmas break, but you come back in the new year, and I think the new year is a great time to start it. You come back from the new year and you go, right, I'm ready to go in this project now.
Yeah. And test and measure that as you go. So even if it's you make a discipline that when you're looking at your end of month reports, you're looking at, okay, am I needing to make a shift and make a change so that I can, bring about that new challenge?
Yep, 100%.
Whether it's a cash flow issue, whether it's bringing your team forward and those sorts of things to be able to get the growth. Yeah, but look at that regularly. Always look at it regularly.
And I think a really simple thing you can do, so if you're listening to this now and you go, okay, this is all great, guys, but what's something really simple I can do? Well, here's something really simple. Grab your calendar, set aside 1 hour next week. And in that 1 hour next week, reflect on this. Where have I been comfortable? Where have I been coasting? Where have I been in maintenance mode in 2025? What are 1 to 3 things that I need to do in the new year that I can start planning now that will move me out of that maintenance mode? Whether it is investing in a group, joining a mastermind, for example, whether it's, getting feedback loops up and running with the team or with your clients, whether it's getting feedback loops or joining something like Convoy Collective, joining a really good networking group so that people can pick you up. There's that old saying, alone you can travel faster, but together you can travel further. So, so that people can pick you up and help you continue on your scaling journey because you didn't come this far to only come this far, right?
Yeah. Yep. I love that.
Perfect. Great session, Caroline.
Thanks, Mark.
as always. If you are listening to this on your favorite podcast, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple, whichever platform you use, then please, we'd love you to like, subscribe, and share. If you know somebody who's a couple in business that would benefit from the 15 minutes a week where we share tips and tricks on how you can improve your business as a couple, then please share that podcast with them. If you're watching it on YouTube, then we'd love you to like and subscribe. If you've got some comments you'd like to make, or there's a topic that you'd like to hear Caroline and I talk about, please drop it in the comments below. Until we see you next time in the next episode of the Mastermind for Business podcast. Thanks, Caroline.
Wonderful.